Great. So you can start lying down if that suits you, sitting up if you like that better. We'll try to move around. I don't know how the other days, if you felt anything yesterday or this morning when you got up, if you've been practicing all along. I could certainly feel it just in the little bit that we did. So hopefully we'll stretch out and strengthen a little more today and see what we see. So settling into stillness in a comfortable position that allows your body to rest easily into the floor beneath you, either lying down or sitting up. Know that I stay sitting because it's easier for me to speak like that. So don't necessarily model what I'm doing. Tap into what you need right now. Softly closing your eyes if that suits you. Use the exhales to soften, to let go of any tension that you're aware of. We're not always aware of the tension that we carry, but we usually have a spot. So focusing on that spot and allowing the breath to soften. Noticing where the inhales settle, where the body expands to accept the breath, allowing the breath to fully release before moving into the next breath, making the inhales and the exhales the same length for 3 more rounds of breath. Breathing deep into the side ribs. Breathing into the front and back of the heart space, allowing the lungs to fill completely. And briefly thinking about what brought you here today. Was it your mind, your body, your spirit? What are your hopes? What are you working on? Maybe starting to think about, as we come closer to the end of December, a new year starting. You don't have to formulate it yet, but what does this next year, especially the next few months, look like for you? How would you like them to be? How would you like to be in those moments? And how will your yoga practice help you to get closer to that goal? Maybe settling into one intention for now, shortening it to a word or a phrase, and placing it in an I am statement, repeating that softly to yourself a few times as if it were true and already happening. Gently drawing the focus back to watching the breath for 3 more rounds of breath. Maybe lengthening that inhale just a little and matching that with a lengthened exhale as you gather the belly in and up. Completely emptying the lungs so that you can fill it with the next breath in. Softly blinking open your eyes, and with your next inhale, allowing the arms to extend up overhead, softening the arms in the shoulder sockets, but extending through the fingertips, letting go of efforting. And then find the breath. Allow any efforting in the back body to soften. Reaching into the heels as you flex the feet, drawing the toes towards the knees. Floating the arms to either side of the hips as you exhale. Pointing the toes, inhaling arms overhead, maybe feet flex. Exhale, float the arms down, point the toes. These are only suggestions. Maybe your modifying or finding a different variation of arm movement that suits you better in your shoulders and your body right now, so you don't feel any tension. And the next time you exhale, float the arms to either side of the hips. Bend one knee and then the other to step the feet softly onto the earth. Walking the feet the width of the mat. Flexing the feet. And then floating the knees from side to side for reclined windshield wiper. Notice what you notice without judging it. Maybe one side's a little different than the other. Maybe one knee comes a little closer to the earth in internal rotation or external rotation. Being curious about your body today without expecting anything. Moving with the breath, allowing a deep opening through the side body. From knee to armpit. And then coming up to center, walking the feet back to hips distance. Inhale, filling the front and back of the heart space. Exhale, drawing one knee and then the other in for a hug. Just resting in the stillness here with the back body long on the earth beneath you, clasping in back of the knees or over the shins, whichever is more accessible for you. Softening the back of the neck. Gently tucking the chin towards the notch in the collarbone, finding even more length from the tip of the tailbone to the crown of the head. Bringing your attention to the back body. Allowing the body to soften and the breath to move into this space. With your exhale, the left foot floats to the earth. With your inhale, the right leg reaches to the ceiling. The foot is flexed, and then point, and then make some circles through the ankle. One direction, and then the other. And then finding stillness and fanning the toes out and curling them in. And then extending into that heel again as you draw the toes down towards your knee. Breathing into that opening in the back of the thigh. You can always be a little curious about these muscles and use your fingertips to massage into those hamstrings. The bands of muscles from the back of the knee all the way up into the hip that get so tight as we sit. And with your exhale, allow the knee to hug in towards the chest, the thigh to the belly. With your inhale, extending it up 2 more rounds like this with the breath, just working into the knee joint without any standing pressure. And then coming to stillness, allowing the toes to rotate the entire leg, to rotate out to the side so that you can cross the ankle over the thigh. And then pausing here to notice, have you shifted weight into that right hip? Is the weight still in the center? What do you notice? Is there still a curve in the lower back? Maybe you have space to step that left heel a little closer to the hip. Maybe you're pausing here, breathing into any sensation in the right hip, keeping that knee floating away from you. Maybe you have the space to exhale and hug that left knee in. Maybe the strap comes the back of that thigh. Softening through the shoulders, relaxing the arms to make this pose accessible. Maybe this doesn't feel right for you. You're allowing that foot to come back down to the earth. Sensation, not pain. Aware of the breath. Maybe with the exhale, both knees float over to the left. Maybe that
foot comes to the earth, inhaling up to center to make it more accessible for you. Exhale, lengthening from armpit to hip. What do you notice? Maybe a couple more rounds like this. Maybe you're pausing here in the stillness, coming into that twist. And then allowing the knees to float back up, inhaling, extending that leg straight up to the ceiling. Exhale, float both feet to the earth. Pausing here. With your exhale, the opposite knee hugs in. Soften through the shoulders. Maybe you have space to exhale that thigh a little closer to the belly, maybe not. Experimenting here. Noticing the back body. Do you still have a curve in the lower back? Are you efforting? With your exhale, release the bind and inhale, extend that leg straight up, reaching into the heel. Flexing the foot, noticing how that feels in the back of the leg, pointing the toes, opening up through the front of the foot all the way down the shin. And then making some circles through the ankle, slow and mindful, so you get a complete circle. Moving in your natural range of motion, reversing those circles. Coming to stillness and fanning the toes away from each other and then curling them in. And then pausing here to extend into that leg, to reach the heel away from the hip socket, to draw the toes to the knee. Breathing into the back of that thigh. Again, maybe working your fingertips to massage open any tightness. What do you notice? Maybe you need to back out of this pose a little to make it more accessible and the breath a little smoother. And then rotating those toes out to the side so that you can cross the ankle over the thigh. And pausing here. What do you notice? How does this feel? Maybe you're staying right here. Maybe you have space to walk that heel a little closer to the sitting bone, allowing that knee, the raised knee, to move away from you. Keeping that foot flexed. Maybe with your exhale, you're able to lift that foot on the floor, taking the strap on back of the thigh or the fingertips, softening through the shoulders. It's a gentle support using those binds. Breathing into that sensation in the hip. Maybe with your exhale, both knees float over to the side, coming into a gentle twist, as if you could stand that foot on the floor, knee to ceiling. Inhale, resting in the center on the sacrum. So moving slowly with the breath, using the breath to guide you, so that you land right in the middle, not floating over to the opposite hip. Just adding a little more mindfulness to the practice. And then finding stillness there and inhaling, extending that leg one more time, reaching it to the ceiling and then bending the knee and floating that foot to the floor, walking the feet the width of the mat, allowing the knees to fall together. Pausing here for 3 rounds of breath. Noticing the lower back, hips, shoulders, the jaw, the back of the neck. Where do you hold your attention? You use the exhales to start to let it go.
With your next exhale, walk the feet together, allow the knees to float up over the hips. Nice. Maybe you'll stay right here, and this is bringing awareness to the core muscles. They're engaged without your doing anything to aid you in lifting these knees over the hips, the shins parallel to the floor, the feet flexed, shoulder blades tucked under the heart, resting flat on the earth. And the breath is smooth and even. Maybe with your inhale, that right leg extends away as you reach into the heel. With your exhale, it draws in. And with your inhale, the left leg reaches away, parallel to the earth or thereabouts. Exhale, drawing it in. Maybe the foot has to come to the floor to make the breath accessible as you extend one leg and then the other. Find a variation that works for you so you can still work the core. Maybe you're on tippy toes. Making sure you end so that both legs are even, or you move through both sides, right and left, and then allow those feet to float to the earth. Notice the difference in the core body as the feet rest on the earth, right? With your exhale, the belly button hugs towards the floor, the lower back presses into the earth beneath you, any amount, maybe not fully getting rid of that curve. Inhale, rock the hip points towards the knees as the front body lengthens and lifts towards the ceiling. Exhale, hugging the belly in, rocking the pelvis forward and tucking it up. Noticing what you notice without judging it. Nice. And then we're rolling over to one side or the other, using your arm as a pillow. Bend elbow, straight arm. Notice the difference. What feels comfortable for you. Maybe drawing the knees up a little closer towards the chest allows for a lengthening through the back and the hips. Maybe the forehead tucks a little closer to the knees without closing off the throat. And you're aware of the breath filling the back body. Deep breath in, complete breath out. And then using your hands to press into the earth as you exhale, gather the core body, straighten that top leg so that you can walk yourself up to sit. And then over onto all fours just for a minute. To wag your tail or roll your hips or just shake it out if that feels good for you. And then we're going to find your blocks or the chair and walk the hands onto a level of the blocks that feels right for you, or up onto the seat of the chair. Softening the shoulders down the back. And if you normally or habitually step forward with the right foot, maybe you'll try stepping forward with the left, unless that bothers your knees. So only you know what's right for you. With your exhale, the belly naturally gathers as you step that left foot forward so that the ankle is under the knee. Nice, gazing forward, softening the back of the neck, curling the toes under of that opposite leg. As you reach into the heel, the knee straightens and the upper body stays right where it is, or not. Just notice how your body responds to this. Maybe this is too much for you. And with your exhale, you'll step that foot forward. And you already have your blocks or your chair there, or your tops of your thighs as you rest your hands somewhere that feels right in this half forward fold.
Becoming aware of the shoulder blades. Have they dropped towards the earth? That's natural as gravity tugs. Can we draw them to the center of the back and find a deeper opening across the collarbones? Can we inhale and lengthen through the crown of the head as the sternum lengthens away from the belly? It's subtle, there's not a big movement here. And we're rooting into the feet. And with your exhale, the tailbone tucks. And with your inhale, the tailbone lifts. Working in those pelvic tilts again, noticing what you notice. The knees are bent, right? They're soft to allow a release of the hamstrings so we can get a little deeper into that lower back. Nice, and finding stillness there, maybe wagging your tail. So the shoulders stay right where they are, and the hip glides towards the armpit, and then it comes to center, and then it hugs to the opposite armpit. Right hip, right armpit, left hip, left armpit. A gentle wag from side to side as if you had a tail. And maybe you're not able to tap into this subtle movement, and it comes with time. Not forcing anything, coming to stillness, finding a neutral, long spine. Exhale, gather the belly, and inhale, float all the way up to stand. Pausing here, big inhale. Sigh out the breath with the exhale. Do you find yourself dizzy? Big inhale. Softening exhale, roll through those shoulders, big circles. Floating up to the ears, sliding back and down. And forward a few times. And inhale, shoulders to ears. Exhale, slide them down the back. One more time like this. And then we'll take a shoulder loop so they slide up. They slide together and they slide down. And we have this broad opening across the heart space. And then notice your feet. Are they hips width maybe a little wider? Do you feel safe and balanced and secure in your Tadasana? Maybe extending, reaching through the fingertips as you gaze forward. Finding strength. Finding that reaching towards the earth through the soles of the feet and the lengthening of the crown of the head towards the sky. With the breath guiding you, a wise heart between the two. As you root into the circumference of your heels, do you notice the legs becoming active, the natural drawing in of the lower belly? With your inhale, allow the arms to float out, around, and up. With your exhale, reverse the palms, float them back down to the side. Inhale, floating up. Exhale, floating down. With your next inhale, coming to stillness with the arms up overhead, and then allowing them to settle down into the shoulder sockets, softening the elbows to make this accessible for you. Nice. Exhaling, floating over to the right. Inhaling up to center, exhaling over to the left. Yeah, moving from side to side, maybe the arms come down, maybe they're in goddess, maybe they're by your side, because the opening in the side body isn't necessary to have the arms extended. What do you notice? How's the neck? Are you holding some tension in the neck or the jaw? Are you moving the arms, or are you moving the core body, the thoracic body, the hinging or the opening, the curve in the spine? Shoulder blades stay resting right where they are. And then floating up to center and floating those arms down and shaking it out and letting it go, walking the feet a little bit wider so that you can take some hip circles. Shoulders stay over the hips, long spine, just working, trying to isolate the hip sockets and reversing those circles. Nice. And then stepping the feet back to hips distance, allowing the weight to shift over the right leg. So you can step, slide, walk that left foot back, and then maybe broadening that, widening the foundation, walking that right foot over to the edge of the mat. Maybe you need to step the feet a little closer. Please be kind to yourself if you haven't practiced in a long time. Maybe you're experimenting with a shorter stance to give yourself a little more security. Finding a gazing point ahead of you and softening that gaze. With your exhale, the hips settle between the legs as you bend into that right knee, any amount. You're rooting into that right foot, the quadriceps on the right leg are hugging to the bone, the muscles all the way up into the hips. Reaching back and down into the left heel, activating that leg, and inhale, lengthening the ribs out of the hips without efforting into the shoulders. The arms float up into cactus or goddess arms. We breathe here. With your exhale, the right knee straightens as we bring the tips of the fingers, maybe the heel of the hand, maybe the elbows together. Inhaling, bending into that knee, drawing the shoulder blades together, moving in and out of warrior one. Settling the hips straight down, opening up into that left hip crease, bring awareness to that hip flexor. Trying to keep that right hip drawing back, the left hip forward without a tug of war, right? Just offering that to the hips, seeing how that feels, and then backing out of what doesn't feel right. Next time you exhale into that warrior one, find stillness there. Commit to the foundation. Become aware of the muscles in the legs working. Inhale, grow even taller, straight up through the crown of the head. Breathe here. Strong, but gentle. With your next exhale, keep drawing that right hip crease back as you hinge forward from those hips. Don't let the heart come any closer to the belly. Inhale all the way up, shoulders over hips, not any further. Exhale, hinge forward. Any amount. Keep reaching into that back heel, rooting into the right foot. Maybe one more round like this. Maybe your body is asking you to pause. How does this feel? Nice. Inhaling all the way up, floating those arms down, stepping that left foot forward. Shake it out, let it go. Pause between the sides to find mountain pose. Find the breath, sigh it out if you need to, and then find a natural rhythm that breathes into the front and back of the heart space. Becoming aware of the foundation through the full soles of the feet and lengthening through the crown of the head, allowing the weight to shift over the left leg so you can step, walk, or slide that right foot back. And then notice, do you feel safe, supported, comfortable? Do you need to widen the distance from side to side, walking that left foot over to the edge of the mat? Maybe stepping the feet a little closer together, but knowing that as you inhale, you lengthen, as you exhale, you root down and settle the hips between the legs, bending into that knee. The knee lands over the ankle, not any further. So even if you've stepped the feet closer together, then you need to modify the pose so the knee doesn't effort over that ankle. Find that gazing point. Inhale the arms up into goddess. Soften there. Drawing the left hip crease back so the right hip works a little bit forward and you breathe into that opening of the front hip, rooting into the heel of the right foot, the sole of the left. Inhaling, bending into the knee, exhaling, straightening and drawing the hands, arms, elbows maybe together. Inhaling, reaching the shoulder blades, opening across the heart space, moving in and out with your breath, letting the breath guide you. Aware of any sensation in the body that doesn't feel right, and softening the pose to allow the breath to be accessible, for the body to open up naturally, not forcing anything. One more inhale and pausing in this warrior one, this variation, recommitting to the heel of the right foot, the sole of the left. Inhale, lengthening the ribs out of the hips. Take the weight off of the hips. Nice. With your exhale, float the arms down, step that back foot forward, shake it out, let it go, and land in your mountain pose. Connecting with the breath, maybe one hand comes over the heart space, the upper chest, maybe the eyes softly close, maybe you find a gazing point. What suits you today? To come a little deeper, to let go of the physical outward body and come a little deeper in. What other sensations do you become aware of? Maybe connecting with the emotional body. With your inhale, allow the fingertips to reach to the earth. As you exhale, root into the soles of the feet, softly blink open the eyes. Inhale, allow the fingertips to float up. Maybe the eyes gaze up, maybe not lifting the chin. Exhale, float the arms down. Inhale, out, around, and up. Exhale, palms float together through the heart center. Inhaling, rooting down and lengthening up. Exhale, and last round. Allowing the fingertips to rest at the upper chest. Inhale there, exhale, hip creases reach back, knees bend. We hinge forward and pause here to root into the feet, strong active legs. Exhale, drawing the weight back a little. Notice the toes getting a little light, the heels rooting into the earth more than the toes. How does this feel? The front body gathers to support a long back. The back is smooth. The chin tucks just a little to the notch in the collarbone. Nice. Maybe keeping the knees bent, the feet rooted. With your next inhale, lifting just the heart as you hinge at the hips away from the thighs. How does this chair pose feel for you? Exhale, hinge a little forward. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Shoulder blades stay together. Last time like this. Burn in the thighs, yes. Inhale up. Nice. Exhale, straighten the legs, shake it out, let it go. Nice, nice, nice. Let that go. Land, soften. Allow the weight to shift over the right leg so you can step, slide, walk that left foot back. Inhale the hands to the heart center. Exhaling, rooting into both feet. And bending into that right knee, settling the hips, your variation of warrior one. The right foot is perpendicular to the top of the mat. The left foot is out at an angle. With the toes pointing up towards the top of the mat, this allows the hip to come a little more forward. If the leg were out to the side, I couldn't bring my hip forward without efforting in my knee. Nice, find softness there. Find the foundation. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head, lift out of the hips so that you can exhale and hinge forward here. Heart comes towards the knee as you reach into that left heel. Inhale, root into the right foot, come all the way up. Exhale, long spine, never collapsing heart to belly. Inhale all the way up. Last time, this time we're gonna pause. Root into the feet, inhale, keep that length. Exhale, float the heart towards that right side. Gentle twist. Shoulder blades stay on the back. Inhale, float towards the floor again. Exhale, root down. Inhale, all the way up. Float the arms down. Step that back foot forward, shake it out. Land in your mountain pose. Sigh the breath out, let it go. Maybe this side's a little different. Being kind to your body, practicing ahimsa, not forcing anything. Allow the breath to guide you. Allowing the weight to shift over the right leg so you can step, slide, over the left leg so you can step the right leg back. Hands together at the heart center and finding warrior one on this side. Reaching back into the right heel, down into the left foot, allowing the muscles in the legs to hug to the bone to give you a stable foundation to inhale and lengthen straight up out of the hips. Shoulders slide down the back and together. Soften the gaze. Inhale there, exhaling, hinging forward, heart towards knee. Press into that left foot, inhale all the way up, reach into that right heel. Exhale, hinge forward. Any amount, where's the right stopping place for you? Mindful of the heart, extending away from the belly and reaching up and over that left knee. Pausing the next time you exhale and hinge forward. Inhale, lengthening the heart away from the belly and floating open to the left, any amount. Nice. The chin is still over the fingertips, so you're not efforting into the neck. Exhale, root into the feet. Inhale, facing the earth and all the way up. Release the hands, the arms, step those back foot forward, shake it out and land in your Tadasana. Pause here to find the breath, to scan the body, to find the foundation, the roots that draw you into the earth, that allow you to lengthen up through the crown of the head. Nice. Stepping to the long side of your mat. Walking the feet out to a comfortable distance. Maybe the blocks or your chair come with you. I'm using blocks just so you can see me if you need to. And we walk the feet out and we allow the pinky toe side to be parallel to the edges of the mat. And then we engage those legs again to reach into the big toe and pinky toe. And maybe you feel this all the way up into the hips without clenching the glutes or efforting into the shoulders. Try to isolate to the legs. Of course, we know the core body responds. And then we use that response to lengthen out of the hips. To inhale and extend the arms out in T. Nice. Maybe floating the palms of the hands to the lower back. Drawing the shoulder blades together. Without having the front ribs pop forward, can you gently exhale them back? Nice. Inhale, lengthen through the crown of the head. Exhale, soften the knees a bit to hinge forward. Keeping that long spine. Notice what happens in the lower back if the palms of the hands are there. Inhale, root into the feet, the legs that support you, come all the way up. Neutral spine, not a back bend. Exhale, keeping that space from belly button to heart. Nice. Slow, mindful movement with the breath. There's a straight line from the crown of the head to the tip of the tailbone. Maybe the next time you fold forward, you find stillness there. Drawing the elbows and the shoulder blades to the ceiling, the chin to the notch in the collarbone to have a long back of the neck. Maybe with your exhale, the belly gathers and you're able to reach the blocks or the chair that's in front of you. If you happen to have 4 blocks or a book and 2 blocks, you can make that a little higher. So maybe after not practicing for a while, you can have some more support with your props. Nice. With your exhale, bend into the right knee, straighten into the left. What do you notice in that inner thigh? Inhale to center, exhale, opposite side. Moving with your breath, keeping that long front body, long back body. Moving from side to side, keeping the foundation of rooting into the pinky toe side and the big toe side of the foot. So not letting the ankles collapse. How does this feel for you? What do you notice? How are your knees? Maybe this is not the flow for you. And then finding stillness there. To exhale, gather the belly so that one hand and then the other can come to the lower back. Rooting into the feet and inhaling all the way up to stand. Heel, toe, step the feet together. Shake it out, let it go. Land there, extend the arms, shake them out. Maybe walk the feet a little bit wide. And we'll take that little twist, just letting the arms flop. So they're not, so that the elbows bend and they maybe tap your body. Nice. And then find stillness there. Finding your Tadasana, the starting point for all standing poses. Right. And then we'll walk the feet nice and wide. Nice is relative. Nice for you. Allowing the right foot to point to the top of the mat. Squaring the hips, what does that mean for you? Can you easily get them to be parallel to the earth so that the left hip isn't popping up, but rather parallel? Maybe. With your exhale, root into those feet. Right foot pointing to the top of the mat. Left heel maybe out a little more than the toes. How does that feel? Left hip is a little forward of the right, even though it's parallel. Just checking in, noticing, and then making the pose accessible for you. So there are goals. Maybe you get there someday, being okay with maybe you don't. Inhaling, the arms extend. Soften through the tops of the shoulders. Exhale, bending into that right knee so you can float into your warrior. Keeping the foundation through the soles of the feet, the rooting to the earth. Imagine the roots of trees. They just work their way into the earth without any effort. So the toes aren't gripping, they're resting. So that we can inhale, lengthen the ribs out of the hips. And maybe notice, are the shoulders over the hips?
Or have we floated a little forward towards that right knee? I'm exaggerating. Can we lengthen straight up? Maybe. How does this feel in those legs? We don't stand like this. With your exhale, float the left arm to the back of the thigh, soften that left shoulder. Inhale, right arm floats up. We lengthen through the side body so that we can float into that peaceful warrior with the arm resting in the shoulder socket, knowing that the opening comes from hip to armpit without collapsing in the left side body. To keep the integrity of the spine so that we're not crushing those discs, right? But still keeping our flexibility and our strength. Maybe gazing to the elbow crease or up to the fingertips and doing a little bit of flow as we inhale. We're floating into warrior two. That seems like a resting place. Exhale and inhale into your peaceful warrior. Exhale, root down. Inhale, warrior two. Move in and out of your warriors in a way that feels natural for you, guided by the rhythm of your breath. Taking a variation that works for your shoulders, your arms, your knees. Honoring your body, moving mindfully. Maybe one more round like this. And then settling into that warrior two. Straightening into that right knee, reaching forward through the fingertips. Allowing that hand to come to the top of the thigh. Wherever it lands, above the knee though, so you're not putting any pressure on that knee. Taking your hand, the left hand to the upper chest. Inhale, lengthen the heart away from the belly. Exhale, float the heart towards the ceiling so that the shoulders stack nice. And you're aware of this opening even as you slide that left hand across the collarbone and reach it straight out. Nice. Root into the feet. Lengthen through the right side body. Maybe those right ribs have drawn up to the ceiling. Can you float them down to the earth and the left ribs down to meet them? Long spine. Don't worry about if you don't get it. Exhale, gather the belly. Root into the feet. Inhale all the way up. Float those arms down. Heel toe walk the feet together. Shake it out. Let that side go. Land in your Tadasana. Another side to come. Maybe you have some expectations about this side, an issue in your knee or your hip or your breath. And you let that go and be curious and then honor your body. And offer a variation that works for you on this side so that we're walking the feet nice and wide. We feel comfortable and safe here. Rotating that left foot to point to the top of the mat. Making the hips or allowing the hips, offering them to be parallel to the earth. Shoulders to float up, back, and down and be right there over the hips. Keeping that long spine so the head is right in alignment with the tailbone. So that when you exhale, the hips just settle straight down as you bend into the knee. The thoracic body stays the same. Beautiful. You're offering that left knee to draw to the rim and back of you. The right foot to root into the pinky toe side so the ankle doesn't collapse. How does this feel as you inhale and extend through the fingertips? Finding grace, finding the balance between efforting and letting go, finding your warrior, your warrior. Breathing in and breathing out. Committing to that foundation and exhaling, allowing the right arm to float down. As you inhale, the left arm floats up. Exhale, root down, engage the core. Inhale, find some space in the back body so that you can bring it back and open up
through the side. The arm is resting in the shoulder socket, maybe gazing to the elbow crease or up towards the fingertips. Find the breath. Soften where you need to. Breathe into that side body. With your inhale, floating into your warrior two. With your exhale and inhale, floating into your peaceful warrior. And whatever that looks like for you on this side, let the breath guide you to 2 more rounds like this. Modifying where you need to. Trying to keep that bent knee, the foundation of the legs right where they are, stable, secure, and hinging through the back body. Allowing the back to bring you in and out of peaceful warrior and landing in your warrior two. And then straightening into that bent knee leg, reaching forward through the left fingertips to have a long side body. The hips slide back a little, yes. We keep a straight spine so that the shoulders don't dip towards the earth, so they stay over the hips. Even if you're up really high, the left arm floats to the top of the thigh. The right hand comes to the hip. We pause here. This triangle. Maybe the right hand floats to the upper chest. Become aware of that heart space. We inhale, lengthen the heart away from the belly, and exhale, float the heart towards the ceiling. Aware of that subtle twist, softening both sets of ribs towards the earth to find a longer left side body. Maybe. Nice. Root into the feet, strong legs. Exhale. Core supports you. Inhale all the way up. Float the arms down if they're not there already. Mindfully heel toe the feet together to step it together, to shake it out, to let it go and land in your Tadasana. Finding a gazing point ahead of you or softly closing your eyes. Pausing here in the stillness to connect with the breath and any other sensations in the body. Go a little deeper. Be curious. The body is warm, the muscles have been active. What's happening in the rest of the body as you respond to that? The breath, the blood. Stepping to the top of your mat, taking the blocks or the chair with you. If you like to have that for support, to come down to the earth. So we'll flow through a couple of half sun salutes, maybe a balancing pose. So we'll root down and inhale, lengthen up. We'll exhale and fold forward. Inhaling there, finding that half forward fold. Breathing into the backs of the thighs. With your exhale, gather the belly, root down. Inhale up. Exhale, bring it to the heart center. Inhaling, floating out, around, and up. Exhale, swan dive forward, soft knees, long spine. Root down to inhale all the way up. Exhaling, heart center. Let the hands float to the hips. Allow the weight to shift over the left leg to come onto the toes of the right. Rooting into that standing leg without locking the knee. Gazing point helps to balance, bring balance. Maybe this is where you're staying and this is enough work for your body, your breath today. Notice the hips. As the right hip hiked up, can you soften it down? Have the shoulders crept up to the ears. Can you draw them to the center of the back? Maybe you're rotating that right knee out to the side, letting the foot, the heel rest against that standing leg. To find your expression of tree pose today might be different than another day. Toes are on the floor to start, finding the strength and the balance. Maybe with your inhale, the toes lift. With your exhale, they tap down. Maybe you find with that inhale, the toes lift and you can slide the foot up a little and then rest that foot against the ankle against the foot. And it's that becomes your new foundation, your strength as that knee draws to the room and back of you and you lengthen straight up. Aware that if you're on a squishy mat or carpet, this offers a challenge. Hard floor, a lot easier. Gazing point helps. Broad across the collarbone. Coming in and out of the pose as you find fit for your body. Finding your expression of tree, maybe adding arms. Lengthening up, not collapsing down into the hips. Yeah. Roots that find their way into the earth. As you lengthen to the sky, inhale, the knee floats forward, that foot steps down, you shake it out and let it go. Ah, what a challenge. We find our Tadasana. We allow the weight to shift over the right leg to come onto the toes of the left. And we hug the muscles to the bone without locking out that knee. And we pause and balance out the hips and the breath. And maybe we rotate that knee out to the side, allowing the heel to rest against the ankle. Maybe this is where we stay. Maybe we inhale and lift the toes. Keep lengthening up. Exhale, tap it down. Maybe we find this side's different and we can lift the foot, rest it against the calf, move the calf into the foot, and have a new energy to root up from. Drawing that knee to the room and back of you. So these outer muscles into the hip, the glutes, they're active too, helping you with this tree pose. Maybe you extend the arms and find your expression today. Maybe you're just a seedling. Maybe you're a bush. What shape are you taking that honors wherever you are today? Keeping the breath smooth. Backing out of it when it doesn't feel right, coming back into it, trying again. There's always another moment. Inhaling, that knee floats forward, the arms release, the feet come to the earth, we shake it out, let it go. And we float down to the earth. As we inhale, the arms extend. As we exhale, we hinge forward. Finding a chair or blocks or deeply bending the knees and finding the earth so you can step one knee back and then the other. Coming to sit on the heels, letting the hips float to one side and extending those legs straight out in front of you. Walking the hands back, walking the feet wide. Coming onto the heels, if that works for you, so that you can float into your windshield wiper with a long front body, a supported back body, shoulder blades underneath the heart. Nice. Aware of not collapsing that front body, right? And then softening here to walk the feet back to hips distance, scooting yourself up to the top of the mat if you're not there already. One hand and then the other comes in back of the thighs. We lengthen straight up through the crown of the head. And maybe open up onto the top of the sacrum. And really notice that engagement of the core muscles. Maybe that's too much and you soften what works for you. Keep lifting the heart, the sternum to where the wall meets the ceiling, but softening the back of the neck. Maybe the hands float up. Maybe not. What challenge is right for you today? Maybe you carve out the belly and roll down, coming to the elbows and allowing the spine to rest long in its natural curve onto the mat. And then one knee and then the other comes in for a hug. Pausing here to allow the back body to rest on the earth and regain its natural length. Maybe you have space to exhale and draw the thighs just a little closer, maybe not. And then maybe rocking from side to side or making some circles with the knees. Little massage to the glutes, to the lower back, depending on where your movement takes you. Reverse those circles. And then find some stillness there and allow the feet to float back down to the earth. The arms extend, palms down. I tuck one shoulder and then the other underneath the heart space, keeping the head resting on the earth, tucking the chin towards a notch in the collarbone, and then bring awareness to the soles of the feet as they root again to the earth, the shoulder blades, the other connection. As we inhale, we reach the knees away and lift through the hips. Exhale, soften the sacrum back down, slow and controlled. Inhale, lifting as the knees reach away, the hips lift up, but no effort. Shoulder blades root to the earth, shoulders root to the earth, top of the shoulders. Exhale, lower down. Maybe you're pausing in the stillness and you like to hold that bridge pose, being curious about the strength of the back body as the breath moves into the front body, inner thighs hugging together, lifting without clenching. Glutes are naturally active, but you're not clenching. Notice that difference. As you root to the shoulders and the feet, is there space to inhale and lift the hips just a little higher without compressing into the lower back? So awareness of your body and what feels good. Maybe you're still rolling in and out and that's what feels good for you. With your exhale, slowly lowering back down to the earth. And once you're there, maybe one leg and then the other slides out onto the floor in front of you. Pausing here. Finding the breath. Big inhale. Sigh out the exhale. Allow the breath to become smooth, even. Let go of control. Find your natural rhythm. Notice what you notice. Maybe you would like to take legs up the wall if you haven't done that in a while. And you choose to slowly, mindfully, carefully move into your bridge pose and use a block under your hips, or maybe not, and extend the legs up. If your chair is still there, you can rest the lower legs on the chair, and that can be your legs up the wall. Or maybe you're perfectly happy and at peace, resting on the earth in a reclined mountain pose, essentially just watching the breath. Maybe there's another pose you really hoped we would do today because you know your body needs it. And you move mindfully into that pose. Maybe it's pigeon pose, some other hip opener. Maybe you needed to open up your shoulders a little. A deeper twist. What is it you needed?
Maybe you're coming onto your belly and taking a back bend or doing a plank pose. Oh, so many options. Whatever it is, you're using the breath to guide you, balancing out ego and what your body needs, not forcing anything. Knowing that there are no rules except what feels right for you. When you're ready, you're coming back down to lying on your back, with the legs extended out in front of you. Pausing for a few rounds of breath. Noticing if there's been a shift from the start of practice to now. In the mind, in the body, in the spirit. Just noticing what brings you back to your practice. With your next exhale, maybe one knee and then the other draws in for a hug. Maybe you get a little movement here before coming into a final spinal twist, and whatever that looks like for you, knowing there are lots of different ways to twist. Crossing knees, windshield wiper, knees stacked. Coming into a twist on one side and then pausing for a few rounds of breath there to let go and find your deepest expression of the pose. Propping if you need to support those legs so that you're not efforting into the hips and then that effort's all the way into the back. So bring awareness to the back body and with your exhale, soften. If your arms are extended out in T, maybe you need to soften the elbows. Maybe you're gazing towards the fingertips opposite the knees. One more round of breath here. With your inhale, gaze up to the ceiling. If you've turned your gaze, with your exhale, the knees come back up to center. And then over to the other side. Maybe the side's a little different, needs more or less propping. Just honoring that. Maybe arms extend. Maybe gaze turns. Meeting your body, wherever it is. With your next inhale, gazing up to the ceiling. With the exhale, the knees come back up. Maybe a final hug. And then we prepare for Shavasana. So settling in, covering up, propping where you need to. Knowing that the body cools down quickly after all the work that we've done. Taking this time in Shavasana to allow the body to absorb the practice, to allow to become aware of the energy that moves freely, the breath that draws it in, and the breath that releases what doesn't suit us, along with that used breath. Your natural rhythm, no efforting, just a soft, even breath. Allowing the body to rest heavy into the earth beneath you. the support of the earth, filling your natural curves, allowing the body to soften. So that the space between the eyes releases, the eyes rest into the back of the head, all the muscles surrounding the eyes soften and release, and the forehead melts to the earth. With the exhale, the jaw softens. The tongue releases from the roof of the mouth and the lips softly meet. And all the muscles in the face melt towards the earth. Watching the gentle breath, allowing that to be your focus, to bring you back out of your thoughts, back into, deep into your body. Maybe tapping into that mental, emotional body, the emotional body. Aware of how you feel. And honoring that throughout your day so that you can take care of yourself. Doing all that you can with all that you have, with the time that you have, in the place where you are. And I'll be here to guide you out. Slowly becoming aware of your body resting on the earth. Becoming aware of the space surrounding you. Gently deepening your inhales and your exhales. And slowly bringing your body back from stillness with small, gentle movements. Wiggling the fingers and the toes, maybe slowly rolling your head from side to side. Maybe with a deep awakening inhale, reaching through those fingertips. And then floating the arms to a comfortable position as you step one knee and then the other. Bend one knee and then the other to step the feet softly onto the earth. Pausing here. Transitioning. Feeling more awake and alert with every inhale. Noticing what your practice has given to you today. And when you're ready, rolling over to one side or the other, using your arm as a pillow. Allowing the breath to fill the front and back of the heart space. And bringing to mind the intention you started with. How will you bring your practice into your life? Keeping the eyes softly closed if that suits you. Press into the earth and walk yourself up, draw yourself up into a comfortable, easy pose, seated position. With legs in any way that feels right. And with your next inhale, maybe the arms extend one more time. And with your exhale, the palms float together and they come to rest at the heart center. And we lift our hearts and we bow our heads to honor that perfect light that shines in all of us and unites us. With the intention that our practice be continuous, that it may be of benefit to all beings. That may all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May they know peace. And may they walk through the world with ease. Namaste. Thank you all for sharing your practice with me.